Now, the other big thing that you were involved in recently, as were a few other creators, was the Div 12 Ressies biggest game at Lockley's. That's just one of the all-time great stories with how that unfolded. It was one of those things you couldn't not watch it. Like if anyone had seen any 5 seconds worth of any of the Marmalade Boys' work, you were just hooked onto it. What was that day/night? Because I know you arrived there pretty early from the vlog, but what was that whole experience like playing that game? You obviously kicked the first goal of the game as well, which is a pretty big moment. But it just must have been a surreal night to have that many people there to watch. And this is not being disrespectful, but that level of football, the way they built it up was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, like sometimes I talk to the Sheps or I'll talk to Connor, and I'll mention what I've gotten up to for the day. Like Rogie, he works, like he's obviously got his show at the AFL at the moment on the Slice, and he does bits and pieces sort of with everyone and collabs with everyone. But he also works full-time days at like a factory every now and again. So there'll be days where Rogie's out at the factory and he goes, "What do you get up to today?" And I said, I filmed some trick shots for a couple of hours. I then went and did a live stream, and now I'm out filming something else. And they're all bizarre. Like it might be like, I filmed some trick shots and now I'm drinking chalky milk, and tonight I'm hopping on a lot, I'm playing some AFL Evolution. And Connor always replies, "That is a bizarre 9 to 5. Like that's a weird 9 to 5. So yeah, I guess, flying over to Adelaide when Checkers sort of pitched it to me, I was in straight away, but I was really concerned that we were going to sort of disrupt the season because it was a legit game in this league. So I was a bit nervous that we were going to roll in and this other team was going to be quite angry, and there was going to be people over the fence going, "Oh, you're bringing our league into disrepute by just bringing all these random people in." But the whole thing was done really well. Like the opposition loved it. I was pretty anxious throughout the afternoon because I hadn't played footy in 8 years, like an actual game, and I got really nervous that it's a game of local footy. I've never played local footy. I played obviously footy from 7 till I think I was like 19 when I stopped. So 12 years of footy, but I never played like local footy where people are drunk and they're heckling you. So I got really anxious in the afternoon that I was going to go out there and I'm this blow-in who rocks up, thinks he's cool, got the Instagram followers, and people were going to just think I'm a bit of a dickhead. And like the second I marked that footy, I've never felt that much love in my life. Like everyone was coming to the huddle at quarter time. And once again, I thought local footy, get a kick, you dickhead, you're a loser, McDonald. Like for some reason, I was just envisioning like a little bit of banter. And everyone was coming up like it was like a school footy game, and the whole school had turned out. Everyone was like, "Come on, boys, you can do it." And I'm like, "We're 40 points down. Like, we're kicking helicopters to each other. I'm not sure we can do it." But everyone was like, "Come on, lads, you can do it. You can get back in it." And like the whole town and the whole club was so supportive. And in my head, I thought, they're doing a live stream. They've never really posted on YouTube before, the Marmalade lads. I know we did talk it up heaps. Checkers was doing press for it all week, which is just genius. Like the man is an absolute animal in that space. But I was sort of thinking, if they can get sort of 10,000 total channel views on the live stream after it's all said and done, that'd be a great result. And I think we came off at the end of the game and it was sitting at like 25,000 before it even got turned off, and it just exploded. And we scrolled through TikTok and the clip of Shrey's goal had like 10,000 likes next to it before, we'd even gone upstairs and had a shower and gone upstairs to the club. Like it was going viral. There was just clips going viral. And that next week, like it was probably the thing I got noticed the most for. Like people were coming up and like, "Oh, I tipped 12 Ressies." So I'm like, "Yeah, I got me 2 kicks and got out of there." So yeah, that whole, like, I'm glad I didn't miss it. Like it was one of those things that next year, if they do it or if something like that happens again, it'll be cool and it'll probably go to another level, but it won't have that cult following or that moment. Like when I was talking earlier about how I love pop culture and I love history and I love the zeitgeist, like there was nothing more sort of pop culture-y in this YouTuber AFL creator space like it. Like that'll last the test of time and that'll be remembered for a long, long time.
It was just such a positive event all round. And I even have Robbo there coaching. What was that like having Robbo there? He's a bit of a loose unit. It was good that he was himself. Like, he wasn't trying to be something he's not. I think that made it a lot more enjoyable viewing experience.
Yeah, I think Coach Robbo had a couple of lemonades throughout the game and a couple of lemonades at half time. And but that's what it's all about. And super giving. Like we were, not to exaggerate, but we were getting absolutely mobbed. Like it genuinely felt like, it's grand final day or grand final week, and we're at like a captain's run. Like when we came out to the ground for our warm up, the line of people wanting high fives and the flashes from the cameras and the phones. Like it was like it was just ridiculous. But yeah, like the way Robbo gave his time, and the amount of selfies he gave, and after the game, we were all out on the ground just taking photos. And Checkers gave every sort of garment he had on him out to all the kids, besides maybe his pants. The kids walked away with a Checkers mouth guard, a Checkers boot, a Checkers sock. So
then he needed more gear because he went back and played. Actually, the Marmalade boys have just popped up on TikTok saying, "Kados, give us a wave."
How are you, boys?
Welcome, Marmalade boys on TikTok. No, that was an unbelievable. And you were right there, front and centre for Australia's first goal, shepherding. You were doing the team thing, arms out. Did you anticipate that many people were going to flood the ground so quickly? Like, you were actually next to him when he kicked it, but you still weren't the first person to celebrate with him. That's how quick they were onto the ground.
Yeah, that'll probably be the highlight of my footballing career. I think up until that point of the game, I had one disposal. And I was sniffing out for a second. It went out the back, and my eyes lit up at being a sort of crafty, tip-ratty small forward. I thought, oh, geez, I'm a chance here. But we'd all set up, and, like, it would have been – it was all set up for Australia. Like, that moment was all set up for Australia. And even the bounce of the ball, and it was just so perfect. So I ran in. Once he got hands on it, I started yelling at him, "You're right, Trey, you're right, you're right, you're right." I'm pretty sure he didn't hear me because he was just panicking with ball in hand, running into the goal square. He kicked truly, and then I went to get around him, and I went nuts. I was like, yes, this is elite. So I went to get around him, and if you watch the footage, he gets closed out. It's almost like a wave, like this wave of people close him out, and I just can't get there. Like the doors close on me before I get to him. And then I get sort of bombarded back by like this wave of people. I had chalky milk all over me, and there was beer cans going everywhere. And then I just went, I'm getting out of here. So I ran out of it. And then I turned to Rog and went, we got to go in there and help him, which I didn't do. But what I did love is you see Checkers like bravely just going through all the 14-year-olds and just sort of smacking all the kids out the way. And he gets to Stray pretty quickly because it's intimidating. Like, as fun and as funny as it was, there was no security. All these kids were pretty loose. There's some people older than sort of 17, 18. There's some big boys in there. So, Checkers gets in there, gives him some breathing space, and then that's where you see Stray, the photo of him, like,
iconic. I love the buddy. Love the Buddy Franklin comparisons as well. It was so good with the 1,000th goal. Unbelievable night.
Yeah.
And then you almost tried to steal Jarrah's goal. He cramped up and he almost wasn't going to kick it, and you were just hovering.
Well, that man had played. So I've got the series on my channel, The Dosso's Demons, and I'm trying to sort of emulate what Spencer Owen did in the UK with #United, or I'm trying to sort of do what you do on FIFA Pro Clubs, but bring it to life. And I want it to be like reality TV. I want it to be like I want the results to be real, but I want the build up to be like wrestling, and I want it to be a bit fake, and I want these teams to want to take us down, but really they don't want to. Like, they just want to come for a bit of a kick. And we played Jarrah Davis as the first team. He was in the Ultimate Ressies because that's what him and Will were running with 12 months ago on TikTok. He'd just come off a broken foot, and he could not run and couldn't walk and couldn't really get near it. He had quite a game, and I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, Jarrah's like this likely type. He's got a great build. He looks like when you read your Specky McGee books, the sort of protagonist of the other team who's the big key forward. That's what it's a Jarrah Davis type. It's like this big bodied key forward. And he had quite a game, so I started to question his football ability. But when we went and played for the Div 12 Ressies, that man had it on a string. Like, I was like so impressed by what he was doing in the back line. He was bobbing and weaving and winning critical one-on-ones, and it was just so impressive. And then he moved forward, and the ball goes in long, and I thought I was going to be front and centre. I sprinted my heart out. I'm like, Jarrah's going to provide the greatest contest. It's going to fall front and centre. I'm going to zip through like Cyril, put one through, and I'll get chocky milked by all the fans. And as I start to like sprint to get to the drop of the ball, this bloke in front of Jarrah falls over. Jarrah physically has to jump over him. Like, he didn't have a choice. I think he was going to try and fly into him, but even if that wasn't his option, he had no other choice but to attempt to hang her. So this guy falls to his knees, tries to get up, and I just turn around and see Jarrah take like the greatest mark I've ever seen on a footy field. He surfs this bloke to the ground. And earlier in the day, while we're eating our McChicken burgers and getting prepared for the game, Jarrah probably had 18 hydrolyte tablets. Like, he was talking about how nervous he was about getting cramp. And he goes, I cramp all the time. I'm going to really hydrate. So he was just smashing hydrolyte tablets. And he got them through the game pretty well. But after he took the hanger, he full body seized. And I was concerned about his well-being. And I also wanted my second disposal. So I did go over and say, oh, Jarrah, great mark, mate. Awesome stuff. Do you need me to take it? And his response was, oh. And he was like grabbing his leg. So I walked back and I went, are you right? He went to get up, full body seize again. And I went, give me the ball, Jarrah, mate. You take 5. But he bravely walked back to his mark and kicked the goal. I think Rogie came over and told me to piss off as well, which is probably fair enough. I definitely didn't deserve to take that kick.